60% of Americans need to stop using your credit cards immediately. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why. My name is Darius.
And I'm Carmen. We have some statistics we need to share with y'all just so we can make sure we're on the same page and so you all can be educated to understand why Darius just made the statement that he made.
Right. Now, 40% of us who are responsible spenders, we can keep our credit cards, but the other 60%, we need to think about something a little different. Now, here's some statistics as to why I'm making this statement.
Wait, hold on. Before you say that, again, we just want to make sure that we have clarity. Darius said 40% of the U.S. population can probably continue using their credit cards. And the reason being is because you are spending responsibly or maybe using your credit cards in a strategic manner where it makes sense. The other 60% is just using it where it's costing you money and you're literally just giving money back to the banks and you're losing your income in credit card debt.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're spinning your wheels and not going anywhere.
Yeah, not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
So hold your horses. Let's check this out.
So here's the thing. The average U.S. household median income is $78,500 before taxes. Before taxes. Meaning if you get a new job and they say your salary is going to be $78,500. That's not what you're actually going to get. Now, that's the median household income before taxes. Now, $78,500 puts you in a 25% tax bracket. Okay. And according to Bankrate, your outstanding tax bill comes to $13,821. That leaves you with $64,679 to take care of everything else. Now, the reason why I say that, the reason why that's so important is because the average U.S.
But I was going to say before you go into that, so before we even talk about like the other consumer debts and whatnot, so we started with $78,000 as the average income, right? And then just with taxes alone, that takes us to $64,000, right?
$64,679.
Exactly. And then do you have the change?
No, I don't.
I figured you would for this video. But the reason why I just wanted to stop and make you understand that is because we're just talking about taxes. Some of you have money in retirement accounts. So you're automatically taking your income and dumping it into retirement accounts, and that reduces your income as well, or any other expenses or things that come up. So now we start at 78. Now after taxes, we're left with 64, and 64,000 is what we have to play with.
Right. Now, this is a credit card video, not a tax video.
Correct.
So the average U.S. consumer spends $63,036 per year. Now our average income after taxes is 64, and we spend 63.
So we're ahead 1,000.
We're ahead by $1,643.
Yeah.
Now, if you see exactly where I'm going here, you see where the problem lays. It's the fact that lies. Right? Where the problem lies. Yeah. You'll see the fact that credit cards is our buffer for our spending habit, our consumer spending habit.
Because we have just enough.
We have just enough. This is how much money we have left over after we made all of our payments, our consumer payments, our consumer spending. Yeah. So 39% of Americans have enough cash to cover a $1,000 emergency fund.
And okay, that's all we had.
And right.
That's all we had left.
But the reason why that's the case is because we spend so much on consumer debt. Yeah. $63,000. What's left over after all of our consumer debt is $1,643. So that's why most of us don't have enough money to cover a $1,000 emergency. Yeah. Only 39% of Americans have enough cash to cover a $1,000 emergency. Now, 40% of Americans have saved less than $300. And this is 2021 statistics. We're in 2022. This is 2021 statistics. So if we don't have enough money to take care of an emergency, where do we get the funds from? A credit card. And what happens is we spend an average of 19% interest on that credit card. At least the 60% of us that don't have enough money to take care of a $1,000 emergency, we go into debt. Yeah. So the reason why this is so important is because we have to understand where the problems come from. The problem comes from our consumer debt. Right?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, I'm just processing all of this because I think it's it's a lot of information. We already know we have the numbers here, but as we're speaking it out loud,
it's kind of it's deflating. It's like, dang,
it's a lot of information. It makes me sad to think that over half of the United States population is struggling with financial, with just with their finances, with just their day to day.
Right. Like
you said, 60% of America's people are in some sort of credit card debt, in over their eyeballs in credit card debt.
Exactly, because the problem is we don't have enough money saved. We don't have enough money to take care of things that come up. So then what happens is we get interest on top of that. Now we know that credit card debt is a daily compounding rate. So on top of all of that, not only do we not have enough money to take care of an emergency, but the money that we do have, we're spending in consumer debt.
Yeah. And the reason why I was saying, like, it makes me sad because I know, like, there are many times during our journey that we could attest to this, because we had more credit card debt. You know, we were trying to figure out how in the world were we going to get out of debt twice. And then once we finally got to this understanding of, oh, this is what you're supposed to do with money, I think it finally clicked for us. And if it wasn't for the fact that we took the time to educate ourselves and to learn and to apply the knowledge that we were learning, we would continue to be within these statistics.
Right.
So I say that for those of you who are watching this video and who are looking for solutions and who are looking for help, definitely click on the link below. We'd love to serve you at the Wealth Nation so we can continue to educate you and empower you to take control of your finances, because it's never a good thing to not know where your money is going or to feel like there's no way out. And that's never how we want people to feel. We want people to feel like they have solutions.
Right. And another thing I want you to do is, if you are one of these people that have been in this situation, what have you done or what did you do in the past to get yourself in front of your debt? Yeah. Please comment below and let everybody know, what did you do specifically?
Exactly. So then I would say, like, the action steps, now that we have the data in front of us and we know through these powerful statistics just from last year alone what is going on within our economy, where do we go from here?
Right.
So I think the thing that we always want to share is, now understanding this, it's about reevaluating what you can do with your spending. And our biggest thing is always talking about saving money, paying yourself first. And how does that all happen? Is it happens when you reevaluate your spending. Right. Because what happens when we get into this credit card debt or this crazy cycle is we just don't realize that we're spending either unnecessarily or we're over leveraged.
Right.
And when I say over leveraged, I mean, like, your living costs you too much and your income can't supplement it.
Right. And the very first thing I think you should do is to stop using your credit cards for about a week or two to give yourself a chance to evaluate your numbers. Like Carmen said, you need to take a snapshot of where you are right now so you can identify some of your pain points or some of your opportunities that you have. Because again, the problem that we have is we don't have any money left over to save after we've spent all of our money in consumer debt.
Yeah. And it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah, that's why I said to stop using your credit card right now and take a snapshot of where you are, so that you can make financial decisions based off the numbers versus an emotion.
It does have to be a logical decision. This can't be emotional. And sometimes the reason why we're in the financial predicaments that we're in is because we've become emotional.
Right.
So for just a basic example, let's say that you make $5,000 a month and your rent or your mortgage is $2,500. You may not think that that's a problem, but literally the roof over your head is over half of your income on a monthly basis. So to me, that would be your over leverage. Right. Your housing is too expensive, because then we have to think about water, gas, electricity, cable, Wi-Fi, all of that. And that's going to continue to eat further and further into your income. So it's important for you to have allocations based off of how much your expenses are going to be, so that you don't over leverage yourself. And what happens is sometimes we just go, oh, I make $5,000 a month. I can afford a $2,500 roof, a roof, and you know what I'm saying, a house, because it works out. The numbers work, but you're just over leveraged in that that instance. So you have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out, do I need to get maybe a place that's more affordable? Do I have to transition into things? Do I need a roommate? Whatever it is, so that you can cut back on some of those costs.
Right. Now, cutting back may not be the thing that you want to do. So if that's the case, then you need to figure out a way to make more money so that you can take care of these expenses, because your household expense should not be 50% of your income.
No.
Like your rent or mortgage should not be 50% of your monthly income. No. It needs to be more like, what do you say?
A third?
A third? At max.
Yeah. And we hear you. For some of y'all out there that are upset with saying, Carmen Dares, you know what you're talking about. The idea is, like, we talk about abundance versus scarcity mindset, and this could sound like we're going down a scarcity mindset ramble, but not. What we're trying to do is, like we said, just get you to take a snapshot of what your spending is looking like. Because if you are over leveraged in certain categories, then it's just about pulling certain levers here and there to make the numbers work and make it work out. Right. So we're not saying go sell everything that you have. We're just saying take a valuation. Let's look at what we need to do so that we can start making adjustments.
Right.
And do we need to start thinking abundantly by creating more income for ourselves?
Right.
And it's always thinking abundantly. What can I do to produce more, as opposed to always having to remove?
Right. So that's the second step, the action step that you're going to take, because what we want to do is we want to get out of consumer debt. We want to stop paying interest on credit cards. So we have to either take one or two actions. We have to either make more money, or we have to cut our expenses, cut down our outstanding expenses, so that we can pay off that debt a lot faster and don't get into debt. Because here's the thing, the reason why there's a difference between a responsible credit card user and a not responsible credit card user. A responsible credit card user pays off their debt at the end of every single cycle, meaning they don't pay any interest. Yeah. Now, for someone that isn't as responsible, or have something that comes up that's beyond what they have in their emergency fund, they then pay interest. The average interest on a credit card debt is about 19%. End up paying 19% on an emergency where they didn't have to. But if we can understand the amount of money that we have allocated, or our allocated expenses, then we can make better decisions moving forward, so that we don't get into credit card debt in the first place, and we wouldn't be a part of the 60% of Americans who don't need a credit card in the first place.
Yeah, because really, essentially, all we're trying to say is it's about making elbow room, right?
Yeah.
We need a little bit of elbow room, so that we have some space
to breathe.
To breathe a little bit, because otherwise you just are going to be suffocated and not have the resources and the tools that you need to make responsible financial decisions. So by giving yourself some of that elbow room and understanding how your spending habits are affecting your income, and which is affecting your stress and your relationships and everything else, just take a moment to take stock of what's going on, because the credit card debt is what's crippling families. It's what's tearing families apart, because they just can't either stay ahead or can continue to fall back. So what we don't want that to do is to happen to you. And in order to do that, like we said, take stock of everything that's happening and determine what is necessary. Because what's going to happen is, once you start increasing your income, you still may not have that breathing room, because sometimes our expenses increase as our income increases.
Right.
And now we're just off to the same problem, which is why we said that it's important for you to understand that your housing should be a third of your income, regardless if you make $1 million or you make, $10,000 a month. You have to understand the allocations and live within those allocations, because you can be broke having $1 million, or you can be broke having six figures. So again, it's just all about understanding how to spend your money wisely.
Right. Now, basically what Carmen's saying is develop healthy financial habits.
Yes.
Because how you, whatever your process or your formula is, or your system for maintaining your funds, is how you got into a good situation or bad situation in the first place. So being able to consistently make good financial decisions, and it's the small things that add up to big things. It's the small decisions of, hey, I'm not going to use my credit card here because I don't have the funds in my checking account, or I'm going to use my credit card in this situation so I can get some points and I'm going to immediately pay it off. That's the difference, is those small financial decisions that you can make. But until then, stop using your credit card. Stop the bleeding. You have to stop the bleeding.
And easy ways to do that is just to take it out of your wallet. Take it out of your wallet. Sometimes people put it in their freezers. People put it up, accidentally lose it somewhere in your house so that you aren't tempted to use it. And then the other thing too is now that everything is online, wiping it from the history of some of your accounts so that you can't just easily buy things.
Yeah, make it harder to use.
And get into that system, because sometimes it's just too easy. It's too convenient for us to use our credit cards, which is why we get in trouble in the first place.
Right. And the biggest problem with credit cards is not only the high interest rates, but the fact that there are a daily compounding interest rates.
Yeah.
And one of those things that we know about compounding interest is it's one of those things that we want to benefit us. We don't want it to be a detriment to us. We either pay compound interest or we earn compound interest. We always want to be on the side where we continue to earn compound interest.
And I think the one point that I don't necessarily know that we talked about is when you are constantly using your credit card, whose system are you building?
The credit card company.
Yeah, you're not building your own system, and you're literally just throwing your income out the window every single month if you're not doing this responsibly, right? So the overarching theme that we haven't touched that I want to touch on is every time that you think that you need to use your credit card or you need to get points or you need to build your credit system or whatever it is, like just take a step back, because it's not always about building someone else's system or having, an A on your report card. Sometimes it's just about having a few bucks in your pocket to make sure that you can do the things that you need to do. And I feel like sometimes we just lose sight of that because it's either, we got to build our credit or we got to do this, or we got to do that. But then there's no money in the bank account. And then everything that you're trying to do is for naught anyway.
Right.
And you just continue to live in this cycle. So prioritize yourself. Prioritize your goals. What are your financial goals? What do you want to have at the end of the year? Cash, liquid cash. A lot of times we don't even know that there are certain things as having financial goals. We have career goals and all these things that we want to do with our families, but we don't take the time to sit down and figure out what do we want for ourselves as from a monetary standpoint at the end of the year. So think about these things and try to manifest these things and create it in your own lifestyle, as opposed to being so dependent on this piece of plastic that maybe is robbing you blind.
Right. A lot of times we like to refer this as a game, the money game, right? In any game that you play, there's a strategy that's involved with it, be it basketball, football, chess, tennis, hockey, golf. There's always a strategy that's involved with anything that's called a game. But a lot of us, we don't have a strategy for how we spend our money or how we play this money game of life.
Totally.
We need to have a strategy. We need to have a written down plan on how we're going to approach this game, this money game. And a lot of people don't have that. And we see it reflected when we take a look at our 2021 numbers. Our 2021 numbers suggest that we need to stop using our credit cards the way that we are currently using them, because we don't have a strategy. Credit card companies have a strategy. It seems like it's working for them. It seems like it's working well for them.
Very well.
Because most of us are in third-party debt, credit card debt, and we're paying outrageous amounts of interest for access to that. Now, again, we're not talking to everybody. We're just talking to about 60% of you guys. Only 60% of you guys. The other 40%.
Good job.
I guess good job, because basically what Bank Rate suggests is that you guys are doing fine. But the 60% of us that's paying 19% interest, $63,000 worth of consumer debt every year is outrageous. And we need to do better. And the only way we do better is, again, if we go back to these points that we made, we need to develop better financial habits. We need to take a snapshot of where we are right now, and we need to prioritize savings. And then once we do that, we need to maybe either trim down our outstanding debts, or we need to make more money so that we can pay down these debts a lot faster.
And it's all about having a plan. So in order for us to do better, we have to know better. And we hope that this video gave you the information and the influence that you needed to know better and know how to move forward, because sometimes we just don't know. And all we're thinking that we're doing is by having a credit card is by building credit or checking whatever boxes. And that's not always the case. That there's a strategy to everything, and you need to have a strategy with your own plan.
So we've been in a situation before where we had some significant amount of credit card debt, and we felt like we've been in a rut. I know I took it really hard for a long period of time, but taking it hard and internalizing the situation doesn't help you. We have to take action. And the way you take action is just by identifying where your pain points are, and we have to just be committed to doing better moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's about knowing that you can move forward. You know, we've dealt with so many clients who just thought that the world was ending, and then they had no opportunities to move forward. But you do have plenty of opportunities to move forward. It's just about opening your mind, being creative, and being resourceful.
Right, and it probably took you years to get in the financial situation you are, and it's going to take years to get out of it. So give yourself a chance to do that and the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to know how the game is played, definitely check out our next video where you can learn everything about controlling more of your money for yourself.
Remember to own your own lifestyle,
or someone else will.